Okay, guys, for 5.3, it's multi-step inequalities. Your homework is going to be on page 301, 12 through 21 all, 29 through 34 all. Okay, so make sure after this, that's what we're going to work on. So make sure you have your piece of paper and pencil out, or you have your notebook out. All right, so this one right here is now we're combining everything. Before what we did addition and subtraction, multiplication, division. Now it's going to be all four together. So we're going to solve linear inequalities involving more than one operation. Solve linear inequalities involving the distributive property. Remember distributive property. I call it like that, the duck, duck, goose one. Now, for this one, I'm not going to worry about the real world example. I just want to make sure you guys know how to do it first. So we're going to go to example number 2. Now, example number 2, if you notice here, I need to solve, right? My goal is to solve and get y by itself. So the one that's in the way, or I need to get y by itself. So the one that are in the way, negative 11 and negative 13. Now, what I need to do is I need to do the opposite again. First step, if you notice what they did right here, is they added 13, right? Because I want to get y on one side, so I add 13. When they add 13, that cancels, and I'm left with negative 11y is greater than 55. How do I get rid of the negative 11? Well, I divide by negative 11. When I divide by negative 11, though, notice that the signs, what ended up happening? They changed. Why did they change? Because I divided by a negative. Remember, if we divide by a negative or multiply both sides by a negative, I have to change the sign. So when I do that, 55 divided by negative 11 is negative 5 less than y. So y is less than negative 5. Now if I needed to graph that, notice they have an open circle on negative 5. Okay, and since it's less than, it goes to the left. Alright, so here we go. Here's 2a. I need you guys to try this one. Make sure you copy this down. Alright. First off, I need to get w by itself. So here's what I'm going to do. The 10 is in the way and the negative 2. I'm going to get rid of the 10. So I'm going to subtract 10 because it's opposite. When I do that, 23 minus 10 is 13. Greater than or equal to, right? I haven't had to change it yet. That cancels, and a negative 2w. Now, how do I get rid of the negative 2? Well, it's 2 times w, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. But now, since I'm dividing by a negative, I have to change the sign. So let's see what I get. I get 13 over negative 2 is less than or equal to. See how I changed it? That cancels, and I get w. And I could rewrite it as w is greater than or equal to 13 over negative 2. Alright, look at this one. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of positive 11 is minus 11 on both sides. 43 minus 11 is 32. I don't change the sign because I haven't divided or multiplied by a negative. I've only subtracted, so it's still greater than negative 4y. Now I need to get rid of the negative 4. Since this is multiplying, I divide by negative 4. But now that I'm dividing both by a negative, I have to change the sign. So 32 divided by negative 4 is negative 8. Change the sign is now less than y. And I could rewrite it as y is greater than negative 8. And if I were to graph that, let's go negative 8, negative 9, negative 7. It's going to be open or close. Well, it's going to be open because it doesn't have the equal to. So open on negative 8 and to the, let's see, y is greater. So to the right. Okay. So all we're doing is now, instead of doing one step or multiplying and dividing, we're adding, subtracting, or multiplying and dividing. All right. Example 3, it says write and solve an inequality. So same thing. All we're doing is we're solving, but instead we have to write the equation. So again, 5 minus 6, so I'm going to do 5 minus 6 times a number, so 6 times n, or x, is more than means is greater than 4 times the number So number again, n plus 45. See? So that's how they ended up with, what do you call it? Their equation right here, look. Alright? So, what am I going to do? Well, I have to solve. Let's solve it. I'm going to subtract 4n. And when I do that, look what happens. I get 5 minus 10n. Why? Because negative 6 plus a negative 4, negative 10n, greater than, cancel 45. Now what do I do? Well, I'm going to subtract 5. Cancels, negative 10n. I still don't change the signs. I haven't divided or multiplied by a negative. 40. Now divide by, let me erase a bit. I'm going to divide by what? Oh no, I divide by negative 10. So now I have to change the sign. And I end up with n, change the sign, less than. 40 divided by negative 10 is negative 4. And now I am done. Okay, if I were to graph that, negative 4, negative 5, negative 3. Okay, open or close circle. Doesn't have the equal to, so open. And since it's less than, I have to go to the left. Alright, so now this one in words. 2 more, so 2 more than half of a number, 1/2 of a number n, is greater than 27. So now I have to solve. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2. I get 1/2 n greater than 27 minus 2 is 25. Ooh, how do I get rid of this fraction? Well, the opposite of 1/2 is multiply by 2. So 2 times 1/2 cancels, so I get n. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so same sign. 2 times 25 is 50. And now I am done. Okay. And example 4 now, we're solving but using the distributive property. So look at this one. Notice the steps. I have to solve for t, but I have to use distributive. So again, duck, duck, goose. Duck, duck, or multiply, multiply. 4 times 3 is 12t. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20 plus 7 greater than or equal to 8t plus 3. Now I combine like terms. Negative 20 plus 7 equals negative 13. And bring down 12t. Then what happens? Well, 8t plus 3 is the same. Now I can, what? I'm going to subtract 8t. That's what they did. And that's how I ended up with 4t minus 13 greater than or equal to 3. Notice we haven't changed the sign because we don't have to. We haven't multiplied or divided by a negative. Now they add 13. That's how they end up with 4t is greater than or equal to 16. Divide by 4. It's not by a negative, so I keep the same sign. I get t is greater than or equal to 4. And if I had to graph it, close circle on 4, and it's to the right because it's greater than or equal to. Alright? So look at this one. I'm going to do distributive property. It's 30z. 6 times minus 6 times 3 is 18. Less than or equal to 36z. Let's get all the z's on one side. So I'm going to subtract 30z. Cancels. I get negative 18. Don't change the sign because I didn't multiply or divide by negative. 6z. Divide by now what? 6. And I get negative 3 is less than or equal to z. Or I could flip it and go z is greater than or equal to negative 3. Okay. Look at this one. Distribute. 2 times h is 2h. Plus 2 times 6 is 12. Greater than negative 3 times 8. Negative 24. Negative 3 times negative h is positive 3h. Be very careful with those negatives. Right? Now I'm going to subtract 2h. I want to get h by itself. That's why. That cancels. I get 12 is greater than negative 24. And 3 minus 2h is plus h. Now I'm going to add 24 because I want h by itself. I get now 36, because 12 plus 24 is 36, greater than, I didn't change the sign, I didn't multiply or divide by negative, it cancels, is greater than h, or h is less than 36. See that? It's not that bad, guys. It's just solving for x. Alright. Let's see. The next problem or example is the same thing. Okay. So, what happens if I end up with a false statement? That means there's no solution. So, for example, look at this one. When I do this one, I'm going to do distributive property. It's 5. Sorry, hold on. I'm going to do it one lower. Distributive property. So I get negative 5t. Okay, that's how this came. Negative 5 times negative 5, positive 25. Less than or equal to 4t. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Now, I'm going to combine like terms. 9t minus 5t gives me 4t. Still positive 25. 4t minus 12 stays the same. I haven't changed the signs because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative. Now what? Well, I'm going to subtract 4t. But when I do that, what happens? They're both going to cancel. So all I'm left with is 25 is less than or equal to negative 12. Now, is that a true statement? No. 25 is bigger than negative 12. It's not less than or equal to. So that is a false statement. It's not true. And when it's not true, what happens? No solution. Okay? That's what this 0 with the line through it means. It means no solution. So let's take a look at one that has this, right? What happens if it is true? So if it is a true statement, just like when it says 18 equals 18, the answer would be all real numbers. Okay, so let's try one. I'm going to do 5b first. Okay, 46 less than or equal to 8m minus 4 times 2 is 8m. 4 times 5, 20. Okay. Well, look at that. 8m minus 8m is 0, so I get 46 is less than or equal to 20. Is that a true statement? No. 46 is bigger than 20, so it is no solution. That's not true. 46 is bigger. Last one. I get 18 minus 3, so 18 minus 3 times 8, 24c. 3 times 4 is negative 3 times 4, negative 12. Greater than or equal to, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24c. Negative 6 times negative 1 plus 1. Now, let's combine like terms. 18 minus 12, see that? 18 minus 12 is 6 minus 24c. Greater than or equal to, negative 24c plus 1. Okay. Let's add 24c. Plus 24c plus 24c. I get 6. That cancels. Greater than or equal to. Cancels 1. Is 6 greater than or equal to 1? Yes. It's a true statement. Okay. So if it's a true statement, what happens? Nothing. This one is just an actual answer. The only time it's all real numbers is when what? When they're the same. See, 18 is less than or equal to 18. Or did I make a mistake? Yes, I did. Look at what happened. See that negative 6 times negative 1? That should be a positive 6. A positive 6. Oh, so this is the one that's a 6. Now look, 6 is greater than or equal to 6. They're the same. It's true, so it's all real numbers. I hope you guys caught that mistake. Alright. Now, your homework is this section right here, all of them, and this section right here, all of them. Alright, let's get to work.